Today we're going to talk about the 5 silent killers in your long-term relationship. When you think about the biggest threats to your relationship, you probably think of the big explosive fights, right? The obvious red flags you can point to and say, that's the problem. But what if I told you the things truly draining the life from your partnership are silent? They're disguised as normal day-to-day routines, quietly piling up until you feel completely and utterly exhausted. For so many women who've poured years, even decades into a relationship, this leads to feeling profoundly stuck. You look at the life you've built and the person beside you, and you can't pinpoint the exact moment the color faded to gray. You just know you feel emotionally spent, and you're not sure if what you have can be saved. So today, we're pulling back the curtain on the 5 silent killers lurking in your long-term relationship. And let's be clear, this is not about blame. It's about clarity. By the end, you'll see these hidden patterns for what they are and get the clarity you need to figure out if your partnership can truly be revived. All right. Our first silent killer is what I call the unspoken contract. This is that whole set of invisible rules and expectations about who does what that you both dragged into the current relationship, likely without ever saying a word. You each have this mental blueprint shaped by your upbringing and past relationships. It has created an image of how a partner should act. Who manages the money, who initiates sex, and who carries the mental load of remembering all the birthdays and appointments. You think you're on the same page, but you're actually working from 2 completely different instruction manuals. A classic example, chores. You might see a pile of dishes in the sink and feel that surge of resentment, thinking, why am I always the one doing the dishes? To you, it's a clear sign of being taken for granted, but to your partner, they might genuinely not see it as their job or even notice it at all because their family blueprint had totally different rules. The silence is the killer here. You expect them to operate off your blueprint, and they expect the same from you. This isn't about one person being lazy or uncaring. It's about a fundamental mismatch in your expectations. Over years, these tiny repeated clashes build into a mountain of resentment, leaving you feeling frustrated and chronically misunderstood. The fix isn't to argue about whose blueprint is right. It's to sit down and co-create a new contract, one that works for the 2 people you are today, not the families you came from. This means having direct, honest conversations. For example, honey, when the trash is full, it makes me feel stressed. Can we agree that whoever sees it first takes it out? And that's not nagging. It's simply defining what works for both of you. By turning assumptions into spoken agreements, you stop the silent poison of resentment from spreading. All right. Number 2, this is a killer that's all about expectation, turning your partner into your emotional crutch. This is when you, often without realizing it, expect your relationship to fix your personal shortcomings or heal your emotional wounds. It's the belief that your partner's love should be enough to quiet your anxiety, build your self-esteem, or solve your deep-seated insecurities. This pattern places an impossible and unfair burden on your partner. For instance, if you struggle with low self-worth, a quiet evening away from your partner isn't just a quiet evening. In your mind, it's proof that they're losing interest, which triggers a spiral of fear and neediness. You look to them for constant reassurance, but not as a loving bonus, as a necessary fix for your own inner turmoil. Their job becomes managing your feelings, and when they inevitably fail, you feel let down and unloved. No one can manage your feelings for you. That's why this situation is exhausting for both of you. You're in a constant state of needing something they can't possibly give, and they feel like they're walking on eggshells, perpetually failing a test they never even signed up for. This isn't a relationship between two whole individuals. It's a dysfunctional patient-therapist dynamic that is silently draining the passion and respect from your connection. The only way out is to turn your focus inward. The only person who can fill your emotional gaps is you. This means taking radical responsibility for your own healing, finding your sense of worth within yourself, not in your partner's validation. Your partner can be a loving and supporting teammate, cheering you on from the sidelines, but they cannot run the race for you. So when you stop expecting them to be your crutch, you free them to be your partner, and you finally give yourself the power to stand on your own 2 feet. All right. Our third silent killer is maybe one of the most common and destructive of all, the mind reader. You know this one. It's that deeply ingrained fairy tale belief that if your partner truly loves you, they should automatically know what you want and need without you having to say it. It's that little voice that whispers, "He should have known I had a hard day and needed a hug." You create a scenario in your head, complete with a script for your partner, and then feel angry and hurt when they can't read your mind. It's a silent test they are doomed to fail over and over again. When they don't meet these unspoken needs, you interpret it as a lack of love instead of what it really is, a simple communication breakdown. This killer thrives in silence because voicing your needs feels vulnerable, maybe even a little demanding. Many of us grew up believing that true love should be intuitive. We think having to ask for what we want cheapens it. But in a real adult relationship, that belief is a trap. It creates a cycle where you feel consistently let down and your partner feels confused and always in the wrong. The emotional gap just gets wider with every unmet, unspoken expectation. The solution is to kick the mind reader to the curb. The cure is clear, kind, and direct communication. It's about being brave enough to say, "I'm feeling really overwhelmed today and can use some extra support tonight." Voicing your needs isn't a sign the romance is gone. It's proof that your relationship is strong enough to handle honesty. It replaces a wobbly foundation of assumptions with a solid one of clarity and trust. Now, if you're recognizing some of these patterns, I get it. It can feel overwhelming to know where to even start. You might be wondering, okay, I see the problems, but what now? Can this be fixed or is it over? That confusion is exactly why I created my free 5-day stay or leave clarity sprint. It's a guide designed to help you see your relationship through a different lens so you can get clear on the specific areas you want to work on. The link is right in the description below, and it's a powerful first step towards figuring out your next move. Back to the silent killers. Number 4 is the killer of comfort zones, the autopilot assumption. This is the sneaky belief that a long-term relationship, once it's established, should just run itself. I mean, you've done the hard work, finding each other, committing, and building a life. So now you should be able to pop it in cruise control and enjoy the ride. But a relationship is a living thing. Expecting it to thrive without ongoing effort is like expecting a garden to flourish without water or weeding. Over time, the compliments, the thoughtful gestures, a shared laugh tend to fade, not because you're fighting more, but because the conscious effort just isn't there anymore. You fall into routines. You take each other for granted. You stop dating each other. The relationship isn't necessarily bad, but it starts to feel flat and lifeless, like your roommates more than romantic partners. This is especially dangerous because people don't stay the same. You both evolve. Your goals, values, and needs shift over time. The autopilot assumption keeps you relating to the person your partner was 5 years ago, not the person they are today. This failure to grow together is a huge reason why couples drift apart. It's not a big explosion, but a slow, silent erosion of connection. The solution? You choose to consistently turn towards each other. You must accept that there is no cruise control for a healthy relationship. It requires active participation. Schedule date nights. Ask new and better questions. Get curious about your partner's changing inner world. It's about accepting that love is not just a feeling, it is an action. It's a choice you make every single day. By killing the autopilot assumption, you choose to be active in your relationship, navigating the journey together with intention and care. All right, our fifth and final silent killer is one that's fueled by the outside world, the performance review. This is when you start judging your relationship based on external scorecards instead of your own internal happiness. You're constantly measuring your partnership against an idealized image, whether it came from social media, movies, Hello the Notebook, or the perfect couple next door. You start asking questions like, are we having as much fun as they are? Is our house as nice? Do people think we're a happy couple? Suddenly, your relationship success becomes a performance to be graded. This creates immense pressure and disconnects you from what actually matters, how you feel inside the partnership. You can be ticking all the success boxes, marriage, kids, nice home, but feel a deep sense of emptiness because your inner reality does not match the outer picture. This is especially tough for women who often face intense societal pressure to have it all and maintain a perfect family image. The fear of having a failed marriage can keep you stuck in a situation that's emotionally draining, simply because it looks good on paper or in pictures. You're prioritizing the appearance of a happy relationship over the feeling of one. This is a fast track to burnout, where you're so exhausted from upholding the performance that you lose touch with your own needs. The only way to disarm this killer is to define success on your own terms. It means to tune out the noise and ask yourself the only questions that matter. How do I feel in this relationship? Do I feel safe? Do I feel seen? Do I feel respected? Do I feel a real, authentic connection? Your feelings are the only report card that matters. When you let go of the need to perform for the world around you, you create the space to build a relationship that is genuinely fulfilling for you. So, there you have them, the 5 silent killers that can erode a relationship from the inside out. The unspoken contract, the emotional crutch, the mind reader, the autopilot assumption, and the performance review. But here's the most important part. Recognizing these patterns isn't a death sentence for your relationship. In fact, it's the opposite. It's an invitation. It's the first, most crucial step toward reclaiming your power and making a conscious choice about your future. You cannot fix a problem you cannot see. Now you see them. And the real work begins with honest self-reflection and courageous conversations. It's about shifting from blame to curiosity and from assumption to communication. Unmasking these killers is your opportunity to either rebuild your partnership on a stronger, more honest foundation, or to lovingly release what is no longer meant for you. Either way, you are no longer operating in the dark. You're moving forward with clarity. If this video resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribed for more content on building healthier, more conscious relationships. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 5 silent killers hit closest to home for you? Sharing your experience can help so many others feel less alone. Thank you for watching.